Hi everyone, welcome to True Crime Chat with Mommy Ramblings. I'm Carolyn, and if you've been following our channel for some time, you'll know that we covered the KELSEY Berreth case extensively when it was pre-trial, during trial, and sentencing. Now we have something that I know that you'll probably be just as upset as I am, because Krystal Lee Kenney is being considered for early release to a halfway house. And all I have to say is, are you kidding me? Where is the justice for KELSEY Berreth? Krystal Lee Kenney, who admitted knowing that Patrick Frazee was plotting to kill KELSEY Berreth, who herself came down 3 times to try to kill KELSEY Berreth herself, helped him clean up the murder scene, helped him dispose of the body and get rid of evidence, and mislead people by sending text messages from Idaho from Kelsey's phone, which she then destroyed, could be moved to a halfway house after spending just 2 months of her 3-year sentence behind bars. Krystal Kenney is being referred for consideration of placement in a community corrections program, and the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office is objecting to the move. Let's remember, this woman took a plea deal and pleaded guilty to disposing of KELSEY Berreth's cell phone and all of the other stuff that she did, cleaning up the crime scene. She went there, you remember she was pointing things out, seeing Patrick start this fire with Kelsey's body, taking Kelsey's things back to her Idaho house and burning them. It's just nuts. We thought 3 years was too little. She served 2 months. 2 months. But the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office has filed a formal objection to the Community Corrections Board, arguing that Kenney should serve more time behind bars. Now, according to the DA, offenders placed in community corrections could later be referred to an intensive supervision program where they are monitored electronically and could live outside a halfway house. This process is separate from parole. The 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office issued the following statement about Krystal Lee Kenney's possible move to a halfway house. On behalf of KELSEY Berreth's family and friends, along with the still healing community, we vigorously oppose moving this defendant to any community-based alternative, such as community corrections. It shall never be forgotten that this defendant, who worked as a nurse, was aware of convicted murderer Patrick Frazee's intent to kill KELSEY Berreth, and had she notified anyone, any law enforcement agency, or even the victim herself, Miss Berreth would likely be with her family today. She further drove to Colorado from her home state of Idaho to assist Mr. Frazee after the fact and proceed to clean up a gruesome, bloody crime scene. When Judge Scott Sells handed down a 3-year prison sentence, he said what she did was cold, calculating, and cruel, and that if he sentenced her to probation, it would minimize the depravity of her actions. We believe that sending her to a halfway house would do just that. This defendant was sentenced to serve 3 years in prison for her participation in a horrible, depraved crime, 1,095 days, and to date, she has served barely 60. District Attorney Dan May and Senior Deputy District Attorney Jennifer Feeman said in this letter from the Office of the District Attorney, this is the formal letter, and I'm going to read it for you just as it is in its entirety. Okay, so it says this is regarding the placement consideration of Krystal Kenney for community corrections. Members of the Community Corrections Board, thank you for taking the time to consider this letter and making your decision on accepting Krystal Kenney into a community corrections program. We are strongly opposed to Ms. Kenney returning to a community-based setting. Ms. Kenney was sentenced to 3 years in the Department of Corrections on January 28, 2020. As of the writing of this letter, Ms. Kenney has not yet served even 2 months in the Department of Corrections. This is abhorrent for the crime and her participation in it. Ms. Kenney was called by Patrick Frazee on Thanksgiving, November 22, 2018, and told to come to Colorado because she had a mess to clean up. Rather than contacting authorities, Ms. Kenney rearranged her schedule, lied to family and coworkers, packed up cleaning supplies, and drove the 12 hours from Twin Falls, Idaho to Woodland Park, Colorado. When Ms. Kenney arrived at the condo belonging to KELSEY Berreth, she again made a series of calculated and appalling choices. She described a horrific bloody crime scene that she took nearly 4 hours to clean up while wearing a protective suit over her clothes that she brought with her from Idaho. She assisted Patrick Frazee in retrieving the remains of KELSEY Berreth and then participated in the burning of KELSEY's remains. As if this wasn't enough, Ms. Kenney took KELSEY's phone, purse, and gun back with her to Idaho, all in an attempt to mislead law enforcement on what had happened to KELSEY. It almost worked. KELSEY's family had no idea what happened to her. Patrick Frazee, with Ms. Lee's assistance, misled law enforcement so as to make it appear that KELSEY had simply ran away and killed herself. For almost a full month after KELSEY's murder, Ms. Kenney said nothing to law enforcement about what happened to KELSEY. Ms. Kenney knew the family of KELSEY was desperately looking for her. Ms. Kenney said nothing. It wasn't until she was contacted by and lied to the FBI that her sense of self-preservation took over, and she finally told law enforcement what happened. Ms. Kenney deserves to spend every day of her 3-year sentence in the Department of Corrections, but we are cognizant of the fact that she will not serve the entire sentence day for day in the Denver Women's Correctional Facility. She should, however, serve more than 2 months. She should serve her full sentence in DOC until she paroles from DOC. Serving 2 months out of a 3-year sentence for what she did is simply unconscionable. And that is signed by Jennifer Veman and Daniel May. During her sentencing, Krystal Kenney told the court that sorry is not enough to repent for what she did. And Judge Scott Sells agreed, giving her the maximum 3-year sentence for tampering with physical evidence. Dan May acknowledged that she likely would not spend that entire 3 years in the Department of Corrections following her January sentencing. In a statement distributed to the media on Friday, he said that roughly 60 days Kenney has served of her sentence so far demonstrates once again that Colorado's sentencing scheme is outrageously, dishearteningly distorted with an utter lack of truth in sentencing and is in desperate need of reform. The letter that was written, is just really powerful. I just want to go over, just some of this stuff here. They said that this, really, it shall never be forgotten that this defendant, who worked as a nurse, was aware of convicted murderer Patrick Frazee's intent to kill KELSEY Berreth, and had she notified anyone, any law enforcement agency, or even the victim herself, Ms. Berreth would likely be with her family today. Okay, volumes there, right? It's how we all felt. She had so many chances to do something. Don't give us crap that you're scared of this guy. You had so many chances. And it's one of the things that infuriated us through that whole trial, through everything leading up to it as we learned the evidence. Beyond from the trial, from the time we found out when we got those arrest warrants and we saw what she did about the coffee. I remember doing the videos back on them, sitting on my kitchen island and talking about that, right? Maybe about a year ago at this time, we were just talking that, and just in utter disbelief that she would come down 3 times to try to do this, 3 times, okay? And then, you know, not tell anyone, and then just unconscionable, just absolutely, how they could think 60 days is okay when 3 years wasn't even enough. Sorry guys if I'm a little frazzled with this and a little heated, but this is just, this is infuriating. And I mean, we have to all hope and pray and that this does not go through, that they do not approve her for this. What an injustice to Kelsey's family. Just another injustice, when there should be some type of justice for Kelsey Berreth. And what was served here, you know, yeah, May said he had to make a deal with this devil, and it killed him to have to make that deal. And we saw that emotion on his face in those press conferences. And when it came out and everybody learned what this woman did, the sentence, the plea deal, just was so hard to take. And it was so hard for the DA. And he's so upset. He knows he made a deal with the devil in order to get the case against Patrick. But then, you know, we were so happy. I remember that the judge handed down the maximum, because we were worried she was going to get off on probation. We had discussed it before, remember? And so happy that he gave her the maximum. And he did what he could with that. You know, he didn't fall short. He did what was in his power. He did it. And now here we have her being recommended for this. This is an abomination. And I agree wholeheartedly. There needs to be reform there. And I hope and I pray that people will, you know, make their voices heard. I don't know, perhaps our friend Deb could tell us what we can do to help keep her in that Department of Corrections. But I'm all ears. So prayers for Kelsey's family, prayers that she is not released early, you know, justice for Kelsey Berreth, a 29-year-old mother that will never be on this earth again, walk this earth, raise her child, be with her family. And this woman right here, could have stopped it. Multiple times. So yeah, I'm sorry that I'm infuriated, but I'm sure many of you are right there alongside of me and understand it. Okay, so let's see, put our heads together, see what we can do, and just really, nothing else, you know, pray for justice for Kelsey and for her family, because can you imagine what they are feeling? Wow. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and the notification so you know when we upload new videos and go live. It's the best community on YouTube, and we'd love to have you as part of it. Thanks for watching, and again, justice for Kelsey. Bye now.